Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really massive shift in the tech industry, Microsoft's incredibly aggressive pivot towards creating its own entirely proprietary AI ecosystem. For the last couple of years, the whole story in AI has been all about partnerships. But today, we're looking at a tech giant deciding it wants to own the entire recipe, from the kitchen equipment all the way to the final dish served on the menu.
So, what is actually happening? Well, Microsoft is steadily and very deliberately moving away from its heavy reliance on Nvidia for hardware and OpenAI for software. Now, it's not a complete messy breakup just yet, but it is a dramatic shift in how the company views its future. They are clearly realizing that renting the future is just way too expensive, and owning it is really the only way to guarantee total control. To really grasp this shift, we need to talk about full-stack AI. Because that is exactly what Microsoft is building here, to take control of its technological destiny. Imagine not just designing the software, but custom building the exact silicon chips that run it, and the massive data centers that house it. When you control the full stack, you can optimize absolutely everything. And best of all, you answer to no one. Here's our roadmap for the Explainer today. We're going to quickly hit Section 1, Microsoft's big AI pivot, then move into the hardware with a Maia 200, check out the software with the new MAI models, look at model performance and reviews, break down the enterprise sales pitch, and finish up with a full-stack future. All right, diving right into Section 1, Microsoft's big AI pivot, and why they're moving away from reliance on third parties. Massive pain points are really what forced Microsoft to take matters into its own hands here. Relying on Nvidia means you're paying absolutely astronomical hardware costs, and you have to navigate their closed CUDA software ecosystem, not to mention dealing with those severe supply bottlenecks we've all heard about. Add to that the desire to reduce a staggering $13 billion dependency on just a single software partner, OpenAI, and the reasons for this pivot suddenly become super obvious. Moving right along to Section 2, let's get into the physical foundation of all this, the Maia 200 custom silicon chips. Comparing Microsoft's new Maia 200 chip against the current titans of the industry, you can really see the sheer ambition. They are boasting a cutting-edge 3-nanometer process from TSMC, and they are directly challenging Nvidia's dominance by purposefully designing a chip that is optimized exactly for massive AI inference workloads. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that the Maia 200 features a massive 216 gigabytes of HBM3E memory. Guys, that is nearly 3 times the capacity of a standard NVIDIA H100. By packing that much memory onto a single chip, Microsoft drastically reduces the time it takes for the system to bounce data back and forth. It allows them to process massive AI language models incredibly fast by overcoming what engineers call the memory wall. But of course, all that raw power comes with a literal heat tax of 750 watts per chip. Standard air cooling simply won't cut it for that kind of heat. This actually required Microsoft to develop a custom liquid cooling sidekick radiator just to keep their servers from melting down. It literally sits right next to the server rack, circulating liquid to keep these massive computational engines running smoothly inside their existing data centers. All right, shifting gears to Section 3, the software. Let's talk about Microsoft's new in-house AI models. Microsoft recently pulled the curtain back on 4 distinct MAI models, which, by the way, just stands for Microsoft AI. To build these, they utilized roughly 15,000 H100 GPUs. And these aren't just little experimental toys. They are designed to directly compete with the big tools you might currently use from OpenAI or Google, offering everything from complex logic and reasoning to full text-to-speech generation. Now, here is a massive selling point you should take away from this. Microsoft has an absolute obsession right now with clean data lineage. The MAI models were built with what they call zero distillation, meaning they definitely didn't secretly learn from other companies' models. Because it's trained entirely on commercially licensed enterprise-grade data, Microsoft is legally assuring businesses that they are totally safe from the copyright controversies that are currently haunting a lot of other AI developers. Which brings us nicely to Section 4, model performance and reviews. How do these actually hold up in real-world testing? Well, Microsoft has made some incredibly bold claims about their new capabilities. Naturally, they hyped up these proprietary models to the press, with leadership even claiming that users in blind tests actually preferred my thinking over incredibly strong competitors like Claude's Sonnet. But to keep things perfectly impartial here, we have to look at what independent reviewers are saying.
And when folks like PC Mag actually put the tools to the test, they found the consumer-facing side to be, well, a bit unpolished. They noted the reasoning model lacked internet access, the generated images had distorted text compared to Google's Gemini, and the voice generation model still sounded squarely inhuman and robotic.
So the brutal truth? It really lies somewhere in the middle. While the reasoning capabilities are mathematically stellar, scoring an impressive 53% on the highly complex SWE Bench Pro coding test, the consumer-facing features like voice and image generation clearly still need some fine-tuning. It is a really powerful first step for an in-house model, but the polish just isn't quite at the absolute frontier yet.
Let's move over to Section 5, the enterprise sales pitch. Why would a company actually make the switch? Comparing the two ecosystems highlights exactly why a major business might ditch OpenAI for MAI. It literally all comes down to trust and friction. With MAI, you get native integrations right into Microsoft Azure, strict regional data control across over 60 global regions, and ironclad legal guarantees that your company's private data won't be used to train public models. If you're in a highly regulated industry like healthcare or finance, that kind of peace of mind is just invaluable. And the financial impact here is huge. Enterprise clients can achieve a 62% reduction in API costs at scale just by locking into Microsoft's integrated ecosystem. When your company processes thousands of AI requests every single day, reducing your per query cost by over half frees up a massive amount of capital. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 6, the full stack future and what vertical integration really means. Bringing it all together, the most crucial point is that by owning everything, from the physical silicon at the very bottom up to the end-user software at the top, Microsoft gains total strategic independence. They aren't waiting on Nvidia for chips, and they definitely aren't waiting on OpenAI for model updates anymore. They own the entire data pipeline, they avoid those exorbitant hardware taxes, and they offer unrivaled customization and compliance for their clients. It's a brilliantly orchestrated top-to-bottom monopoly on their own product ecosystem. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. As the absolute biggest players in tech stop sharing their resources and start building their own vertical full-stack fortresses, the entire landscape is radically changing. The era of open collaboration might be shifting into an era of massive proprietary silos. Looking at your own tech stack, whose full-stack ecosystem will you eventually be locked into? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And as always, keep questioning the tech that shapes our world.